What's up guys, Stark here. In today's character spotlight we are going to be taking a look at Waver Velvet, or Lord El-Melloi II if you would prefer. I actually do have this 5-star character, but for the sake of consistency I'm just going to throw up the images like I've been doing in the past couple of videos. So this guy is a caster type servant, and in my opinion he is one of the best characters you can get at this point in the game, and even going further in Japan. He is absolutely amazing, and I don't really want to talk about characters not in the game right now, but if you do have him and you manage to get Merlin when he comes out, they make a not unstoppable combination, but the combination is very, very good, and I'll explain why in just a little bit. For now though, I'm going to throw his pictures on the screen, and his artwork is pretty solid. But what's interesting about this is that he actually goes from Lord El-Melloi II to Waver Velvet as you max ascend him, and his character sprite will actually completely change from two different characters. I mean, they are technically the same person, but he goes from his older self to his younger self by ascending him, which I think is a nice, pretty cool touch. It's a throwback to Fate Zero for those those people who like the character, like me. And his voice. I mean, his voice actor's the same, but his voice actually changes from the serious Lord El-Melloi II to the childish Waver Velvet, which is a really nice touch. I really like that, and I cannot wait till I max ascend my Waver. That's what I call him. That's what I'm going to continue to call him, because that's what I know him as. So now for his stats at max level, he's going to max out at 10,598 attack, and 14,259 HP. So he's a little bit more on the tankier side for his HP, and that makes sense. He is generally a support character, but unlike Jean, he's not like a tank support character. He's more like a debuffer slash buffer character, and he's really good. And he's really good because of his skills. So let's go take a look at those real fast. His first skill is the Discerning Eye A skill, which increases critical hit damage for 3 turns and increases the Noble Phantasm gauge of one ally. And that's going to be a 30% boost to the gauge. It's a really nice bonus. You could just pop that whenever you need it to get them a Noble Phantasm going. So it's a pretty solid skill. But overall, that is his weakest of the 3 skills, in my opinion. Next up, you have the Tactician's Advantage A+, or Tactician's Advice, sorry. And this is going to target all allies, and this increases their defense for 3 turns, decreases all damage received for 3 turns, and increases their Noble Phantasm gauge by 10%. So that's really good. You could just use that turn 1, get an increase in your Noble Phantasm gauge, and a lot of craft essences let you start with your gauge like near maxed or maxed, so using a 10% increase right off the bat means you could potentially be using some Noble Phantasms on turn 1. And if you combo that with his Tactician's Command A+ skill, which increases attack for 3 turns, increases damage for 3 turns, and increases the Noble Phantasm gauge, you're gonna get a 20% increase in your Noble Phantasm gauge at the start of the fight. So potentially, and almost very likely, you're going to be able to use some Noble Phantasms on turn 1, and you can keep recycling them throughout the entire fight. And this is why Merlin and Waver combination, or one of the reasons why they're so good, is because Merlin has a similar skill set, so you could just go into the fight, use all these buff skills, and have your Noble Phantasms just continuously going off, and it's very good and it's very deadly. And I really hope I pull Merlin when he comes out. So he does have a couple of interlude quests. He has 3 of them actually, and I believe all of them are currently in the game right now. And one of them is going to buff his Noble Phantasm, which we'll talk about later, but one of them will actually give you a craft essence. And this craft essence is called Runestone, and it will increase your debuff resistance by 5% and increase critical start gain by 100%. Now this is not exclusive to Waver, you can use it on any character. It's just the reward you'll get for that specific quest, and it is a pretty solid craft essence. It will, at max level, increase your max attack by 500 and your max HP by 750, which is pretty solid stats for a 3-star craft essence. And overall, it's pretty good if you're going to use it on a critical, like a quick team or something like that. So I'd say it's pretty good. So moving on to his Ascension Materials. Unfortunately, at this stage in the game, you cannot max ascend Waver. You do need the Forbidden Pages and the gears in order to max out Waver. Those come in London as well, so you're going to have to wait a couple story islands before you can do that. But I think it's worth the wait. I definitely think it'll be worth the wait. And I do really believe that they are going to give us an event with these items before the story comes out, so we can ascend some of these characters to the maximum level and take full advantage of them. But at this point in the game, unfortunately, we cannot, go ahead and ascend that character. Even though, even if you don't max ascend him, he is still really good. So you definitely want to be using him if you have him. So now I'm going to throw up the skill enhancement materials. He does need the Forbidden Pages for a lot of his skills. So again, you're going to have to wait until those come out before you can max his skills up. But you need a lot of money to max these skills anyway, so at this stage in the game you probably don't have enough money to do it anyway. So just sit tight and wait for those materials to come out, and you should be fine when they do eventually come out. So for his maximum bond craft essence, it's going to be another one of those kind of generic ones. It's going to be called Relic of a King, and it will increase Buster card effectiveness of all allies by 15% while on the field, which kind of seems the standard for a lot of the generic cards. I do wish that each card had like a very unique effect specific to that character, but I guess you can't have everything. There's probably going to be tons of other craft essences you can use instead of this, but I just, I obviously have to mention it. Alright, so moving on here to his command cards and Noble Phantasm. He is built more towards the art setup with 3 arts cards, 1 buster, and 1 quick card. It's a very good combination, and a lot of, teams can benefit from having the full art setup, which is really nice. And his Noble Phantasm is also an arts card, and it's going to reduce the charge of all enemies. Has a medium chance to inflict stun to all enemies for 1 turn. It will inflict curse for 3 turns and reduce defense for 3 turns. So that's a pretty good Noble Phantasm. It doesn't really do damage. It does have the curse damage. It's only like 500 though. Over the course of 3 turns, it's not a whole lot of damage, but it does apply a lot of debuffs, which can make your other offensive dealers do a lot more damage, which is always nice. And it does have the chance to stun as well, and it does remove a Noble Phantasm charge from all enemies, so that's definitely going to save you a lot. And then by completing his interlude quest, you will buff his Noble Phantasm. It doesn't do a whole lot, but what it does is it will increase the curse time from 3 turns to 6 turns, and increase the damage from 500 to 1000 every turn. And this is really nice because you could potentially keep recycling his Noble Phantasm before the curse effect wears off. So you're going to have a consistent 1000 damage to all enemies every single turn, which is really nice damage if you look at it that way. So that's pretty much it here for the character spotlight on Waver. In my opinion, he's a very, very good support character. You obviously want to combo him with another strong offensive servant, but even if you don't, you can still get by. I mean, he doesn't have that much attack, but he can hold his own in battle. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be doing Altera tomorrow, and I will see you guys next time.
計略だ。